Hey everyone, this is the Retro Gamer Ranting. How are you guys doing? I'm doing fine. I figured I would do a quick little vlog for you guys. This time I wanted to talk about first day patches. But, I don't know, I had some birthday money, so I bought some games on Steam. One of the games that I bought was Recoil. And there was a lot of hate for that game on the first day. There was even a couple people going online, some of them prominent YouTubers, that would immediately put up videos saying how much they hated the game and that you shouldn't buy it because of all the lag they were getting. And then there were a couple of people who weren't getting lag whatsoever and all that such. I personally didn't find myself getting that much lag. There was maybe a hiccup here or there. Here's the thing. I just looked on Steam, and they just did a patch already, a day one patch. They're basically doing a bug patch for the performance issues that we saw rise yesterday. There still might be some work to do, but we believe that this is a significant step in the right direction, blah, 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 blah. And, they're doing it, not necessarily day one, but, a day two bug patch. I used to be one of those people who sit there and go, if the game's broke when you launch it, then you shouldn't buy it. You shouldn't have to deal with day one patches. You shouldn't have to deal with this and that and the other thing. And now that I've gotten older, I've realized, I'm like, you know what? Nowadays, these developers have deadlines. Maybe with Recoil, Steam's like, okay, this is your release date. You made it through Steam Greenlight, good for you, stuff like that. And I was one of the early beta testers on Recoil. I actually got in and played, and I enjoyed it on that. So I played this game when it was in its early stages, and I actually enjoyed it. I don't feel like, its tagline about trying to bring back classic arcade deathmatch, blah, 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 is very accurate. I think what it kind of does is it's more along the lines of fast-paced arcade action that kind of resembles a bit of Call of Duty and kind of resembles a bit of Counter-Strike, because you pick your loadouts and stuff beforehand. When I think classic arcade first-person shooter action, I think of games like Duke Nukem 3D and Doom, where the weapons are scattered around the level, and power-ups and stuff like that, like Unreal Tournament, those kind of games. That's kind of what I think of. I don't think about loadouts. So it has the loadouts to it, but it's still more fast-paced. It's a little bit faster than games like COD and Counter-Strike and stuff like that. But it's still fun. I just, kind of wish the loadout thing was a little different, but it's still fun, and it's still something that's really ambitious. It wants the community to build levels for it. It wants people to just come together and maybe even do competitive tournaments as well. So it's very ambitious, and there is a lot of hate for it first day, and I see that a lot. And I've gotten to the point where it almost ticks me off that, and particularly when I went online, when I went to YouTube and I found all these people saying, don't get this game at all. Don't ever buy it, ever. We shouldn't support this. And then you have the developers coming on the next day going, we're working on this. Thank you for your feedback, And here's the thing. It was closed beta for the longest time. And you can't get all the bugs when you only have, a set amount of people, and now you have your servers getting bogged down by what used to be maybe hundreds of people, now thousands of people. And so it's a different stress level. And this isn't a huge big time developer here. We're not talking about Treyarch here. We're not talking about people who deal with large loads of people playing on their servers, playing multiplayer like Call of Duty or Halo and stuff like that. These are people who, it's a more small-time developer trying to make it. And so when the game launches and a couple of bugs will possibly show up, especially for a prominently online game, which this is. I don't think there's bots yet or anything, so besides testing out your weapons, I don't think you can play single player at all on this game. So when people just jump on this bandwagon of hate as soon as a game's released, even single player games, I get in some cases, when there's cases where there's absolutely no excuse and the developers just keep making excuses and this and that, then fine. The hate, quote unquote, which I don't believe hate's a good word either, but I'll just go quote unquote, is maybe legitimate. If people have given developers all the second chances in the world to get it right and they're still screwing up and they're still not listening, then fine. Tell people not to get the game. But wait a little bit. Don't immediately go day one and say, this game is crap. This isn't back in the console era where once a game's shipped, it's done and that's your final product. If Super Mario World got shipped and it was buggy as all heck, that was it. You were stuck with it. Maybe if there was enough of an uproar, Nintendo might have released another version, but that was what you got. You had to deal with it. Back in the day, bugs, glitches, and problems with the game were gamers actually worked around it. The game you got was the game you got. The CD you got was a CD. You didn't have the ability to update it. Nowadays, everything's attached to the internet. So I say count your blessings that these developers have a chance to fix this problem. And if they are willing to, I don't believe that the hate is warranted. Unless, of course, like I said earlier, they're just being naive about it or being, douchebags about it. Take a look at frickin' the War Z for that example. And, just taking your money and saying we're not doing a thing. Yes, I understand that you want a finished project. Unless if you're buying an early access game, which in that case, no one has a right to complain if there's all these bugs and glitches in an early access game that you buy, because it's early access, okay? But that's another story altogether. But in the case of Recoil, to see all that, and it wasn't a huge outcry, but there was literally a couple of prominent people out there going, I hate Recoil, never buy it. How dare they release this pile? There's extenuating circumstances, people. And the fact that they got on and saying, hey, we're working, we want to make this a great experience, we have passion for this, thank you guys, to me, that means these guys are trying. And unless if they screw it up, give these guys at least a week or two and see what they do. If time goes by and they keep saying a patch is dropping tomorrow, a patch is dropping in an hour, it'll fix everything, and it doesn't, and they just keep dropping the ball, then you can get on YouTube if you want to, and you can be a quote-unquote hater and start telling people, don't buy this game. Because just because you have the ability to go on Steam forums, or the Community Hub, or YouTube, and you're able to just bash a game just because you had a bad experience in your first hour of playing it. I understand you're angry. But you know what? Calm down. Go to the forums. Go to the Community Hub. See if other people are having the problem. Then see what the developer's doing first before you start jumping on the bandwagon of me too, this game sucks, I want my money back. I see it countless times. And the funny thing is, especially with some of these small-time developers, again, they don't have as many people working on these games. Sometimes they're lucky if they have 5 employees working on these games. So it's just them. So they get overwhelmed with all this hate, and they're supposed to sit here and be calm and collected and go, don't worry, we're working on it, just have faith, we weren't expecting this bug. You guys should have had this from day one. They're not Activision. They're not a big-name title. I mean, yeah, if a big-name title drops the ball, sure, I suppose maybe they might deserve it. But even then, we live in the age of the patch. And I'm sorry. Back in the day, you can say all you want about, back in the day, this didn't happen. Games had to be released complete. Oh, yeah? Well, I remember getting my PC Gamer magazine. And on that disc, sometimes half the disc would be patches for games, for people who didn't have great internet connections, and so they could do that. You look at classic console games, there's glitches and bugs all along, you just had to work around them. This isn't a new thing. Right now we should just be happy that the developers have a chance to fix it so they can get to their final vision of the game and continue to update it. And from the sounds of it, Recoil developers weren't just throwing it out there just to make a quick cash buck and leaving it. They plan on continuously updating it and continuously ironing out things for the community. So a lot of you might say, well, then they should have just did early access first. They should have did that. It should have, could have. It's out there now. I guess we'll just have to deal with it. Just give some of these guys a chance before you start jumping on the bandwagon. It's really easy to get caught up in this when you have a group of people saying all the same thing. You want to be part of that group. Yeah, I'm part of that group. I had an issue too. I ran into that bug. Yeah, let's all band together and be angry at the same thing. Good for you. Now you're all just yelling. What is that doing besides causing unneeded hate to these people that probably don't warrant it? So just, until they at least prove they warrant it. So we live in that day and age now. We live in the patch. We live in the day of the patching. Okay? So it might be frustrating when you get some of these games day one, especially if it's an indie game, and there's some issues, but patience is a virtue. And in this day and age of I want it now, not many people understand that. So give it a bit. See what happens. There's been a lot of games where I've seen steadily just get better and better, and just you play it one day and realize, wow, this started from something that was okay to now it's phenomenal. And I'm not saying Recoil is going to turn into a phenomenal game. I'm just saying give the guys a chance before we start getting our pitchforks and flames out. Anyway, there's my little rant about that, folks. If you agree, disagree, leave a comment down below. And if you enjoyed this little rant, please share it with your friends and family, because that'll put a smile on my face. And if you haven't yet, give a rate, thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't done that as well. Even more smiles abound from that. Till next time, game fans, keep playing, and thanks for watching.